Second.
Thank you, Tim.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion's carried. Bill, if you want to go first, you're kind of unexpected. Is there something you need to address the Board of Works on? Nothing? Okay.
Thank you.
Nate,
Yes.
introduce you here to Bill with you guys are engineers, so you guys can talk your own language.
Understanding either, I'm sure.
Is there something you gentlemen here, I'm not sure who you are, is there something you want to bring up in front of the Board of Works?
Yeah, my name is Josh Harkins. I live at...
Come on up here if you would, Josh. I'll try to record that then.
Do you want that microphone on?
Is it
My name's Josh Harkless.
Harkless? Okay. Yeah, she'll turn that on for you, Josh. Yeah. What do you need, Josh?
We've got a drainage problem in our backyard. We're trying to get it fixed.
Okay. Is it, from the flood, did water get in your house?
No, it's been that way for a couple years. The tile back
We
here.
don't have water in the residence. Okay, that's good.
Just floods our backyard. We got fish in our backyard.
Where do you live?
116 North Brick Court. It's an
North
addition
Brook.
out there.
Nate, maybe you could help us here. Didn't we do a drainage,
We've done some
project up there?
We did phase one of the improvements he's asking for.
Oh, okay.
So well, we got a couple photographs that were sent to me of what they have back there. We know it's an issue. It's actually been identified. It was the county tile. It was the county Bowler branch number 1 tile that is being turned over to the city. We did a phase 1 improvements up to the roadway on Eastbrook Court, or Eastbrook Drive. He's asking that we...
How long does water lay in your yard?
Usually only like 3 or 4 days, but now, since they replaced that one tile, now it lays back, it's still back there. And now I had mold grown back there. I mean, it's terrible now.
So,
And Nate, that's something you can
it's
look
our
at?
intent to move forward on it. To move forward, though, I need to start getting some easements. I'm getting a price from a surveyor to write up the easement descriptions, essentially, so we can, and once I have all the easements recorded, essentially I'll come to the Board of Works and put it on the agenda for one of our years for construction. So I guess if it's all right with you, I'll start the process of doing that, and ideally there'll be about $500 an easement, essentially, just for the survey cost and legal fees to write it up and recording. So that's kind of what, for budget, that's what we'd be looking at.
Okay.
Is this on the north side of Northbrook or the south? The side that faces,
South side.
it's the south side, huh?
It's that back
I would have
side.
imagined it more on the north side than the south side.
That's taking the overflow from the pond at Water's Edge, the pond at East Ridge. There's a farm field that comes across. There's a 10-inch tile that runs through there, it swings through the yard. I ran numbers on it, we put a 30-inch tile on the other side of the road. So we're going to extend that 30-inch tile all the way through. That's really what needs to happen. Once that's in, they won't have the same problem that they're dealing with now.
Well, Josh, if Nate's familiar with it, give him your contact information,
He
please.
has- Actually, he's been talking to the neighbors, so he's actually been an advocate for getting the easement work essentially established. So I've had a couple of homeowners call and say, we're okay with you doing the work, but we still need to get the easement.
What's the other road that goes?
Country Brook or 200 East?
200. Okay.
Is it down at the end toward 200?
Yeah, that's where my house is. I'm 3 from 200, so I'm like the 3rd property. So them 4 or 5 houses just get terrible. Like I said, I had fish in my backyard, and a couple houses down had fish in their yard, and it just sits there. Now it's like mold. I mean, mosquitoes. I mean, it's just a health hazard now, I think.
Sure.
So,
Well, look at that, Nate.
we'll
Keep us abreast of what's going on.
You'll see some invoices from the surveyor on that. I'll probably just go from there.
Okay, hey, thanks for coming up. Appreciate it.
Thanks for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thanks.
Hopefully we can address the issue. Out at casting site, the Kier casting site, Keith Gerber bought the old building. I know Bill used to work in there. And on the south side of that building, where Keith Gerber is, Hoosier Pattern, when they pull in there with the semi to go to the dock, there's a pole right in the road, I&M pole. And it carries a good-sized line, too. But it so happened the other day when we went out to look at this, there was a delivery truck, so we actually got to see what the issue was. So, I think really we can help Keith out. Indiana, Michigan's going to replace that pole here in another year and a half, maybe less. They're going to take that pole out, but in the meantime, it really is a problem for his trucks to deliver back up to his dock. What he'd like to do is just come in off of Myber Street, turn on Casting property, just turn right in, and then back straight up to his dock. It's our well, I shouldn't say it's not our property yet.
It's
But
deeded to the city.
It is, okay. So it's our property, and just to help them out until they move the pole, I don't see an issue. There's a fence that needs to be taken down, and it needs to be taken down anyhow. There's no fence on the east side and on the Dayton Street side.
Did you say come in on Myber Street?
Yeah.
Myber Street tees into the railroad tracks, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So but he's coming in off 11th on the Mybers. Okay?
Off of 11 on to Myber.
11th? Yeah. 10th.
10th, yeah, 10th.
Yeah.
Okay, Mybers, then, okay, I'm thinking on the other side of the tracks, on
Yeah,
On the
west side of the track.
Okay, all right.
It is Myber Street, it's just
Yeah.
never been put in.
Okay.
It's really a city street, but we've never developed it, I guess.
Yeah,
So I'm saying that they can just kind of pull in on Mybers and then turn right onto the Casting property and then back up. I really don't think we need to have an agreement with them or anything, I just give them permission to do it.
Yeah, I think the thing that you gotta be a little bit careful about is if something occurs where you got somebody that's interested in utilizing the casting site, you don't want to commit to some kind of long-term arrangement that would hinder the ability to develop that. So as long as nobody's using it, I think you could just send a letter to Keith and make that letter a matter of record in the Board of Minutes, board's minutes that you've given him permission to use that until such time as the city says otherwise or something. And then in the meantime, in another year and a half, it sounds like I&M's going to move the
Indiana's going to
pole.
move the pole out of there.
And
Then
once
we'll be
that's
able
done,
to-
then there's not an issue anyway.
We're taking the
fence down?
Yeah. It needs to come down in.
Yeah, once the fence is down, there's plenty of room there.
Keith was even, agreeable to buy property from us. And I said, well, I don't think you really need to, Keith. I think we just give you permission and just do it that way. So I guess I'll write up a letter and give me permission.
and it's not going to interfere with any of the homeowners in that
No,
area,
no,
right?
none.
They come in that way now, don't they?
Yeah, they come in the same way.
So it's not
It's just,
increasing.
they turn onto the Casting property and then back straight up, rather than try to back up and turn. There's a pole there that's just hidden
Yeah.
from the truck drivers. They've nudged the pole, I won't say hidden, they've nudged it before. It was kind of ironic, we were there right when the delivery was coming, so it was good to see it.
Yeah.
Really, I need the rest of the guys to come up, so. Yeah, we can talk about the old police department.
I haven't seen any activity down there.
Well, there hasn't been none, but, have you got that, Tim?
I'll explain what I've done.
Yeah. Do we need to wait for the other guys, Tim, or?
Yeah, because it's going to be something that Board
recommends to-
authorizes
Okay.
you and Phyllis
Let's
to
just
sign,
then
but
we'll go through that.
the lease has to be approved by the council as well.
Let's go to the Old City Hall then. We kind of held off on doing anything at the Old City Hall until we knew what Stellar was and what our housing portion of Stellar was with Kevin Biggs. Kevin has really worked out a nice agreement, I think, with the Music House and the Reverend Bush, who owns Fifth Third Bank Building. So he's going to look at those two properties, doesn't really need Kevin.
Current Fifth Third Bank building?
And doesn't really need City Hall then for his housing project for the Stellar, which is, now it clears it up. Now we kind of held off just in case he needed that, so we can kind of
So,
help our Stellar presentation.
Music House,
He came to an agreement with
Good.
them. Yeah, good. So,
Is Fifth Third moving? or-
no, he wants to leave them there, it'll be a tenant. They would still stay on the first floor and
Okay.
occupy the space they do.
Okay.
But he's interested in 2 floors upstairs.
Okay.
And little room behind Fifth Third to the west of Fifth Third. There's an empty office there. Years ago, I think,
That's where the county court was a long time ago.
was it? I don't remember that. But I thought that's where, Adam Moore's brother,
Pat?
Pat, that's where he had an office. Didn't
Yeah,
he,
I
one
think
time?
really? One time.
Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so that frees up the old city hall.
So now we're back there.
According to what Tim's directed, we have to have a public hearing, so I think that's what we have to decide. We want to have a public hearing at the next meeting. Well, we have to give out a notice of a public hearing, so
Yeah.
10-day notice, I think it is.
It has to be published at least 10 days in advance.
So, I think that's what we do. We go to that next step, get a public hearing, then we decide what the heck we want to do.
What's the purpose of the public hearing?
Get rid of that building.
To decide whether you're going to sell it at an auction or list it?
Can we make that public hearing to decide that? Or do we have to?
The public hearing, you have to get a comment from the general public on that suggestion.
Disposal of
Yeah.
the old city hall, that's basically it.
Okay.
Is that
I'll look at that.
Is that enough?
I don't know you're going to be able to get this done by your next
so we'll go
meeting.
to
It may be the first
in
meeting in August,
That's
but
fine.
the notice is going to have to be worded. I'm trying to think. I'll have to look at the statute
Okay.
and see, if I can get something put together, I'll try and do it. And then,
Well, don't worry, if we can't, let's don't rush it, we'll go to the next. I was gonna bring that up at the, city council meeting, so we have, coverage from the news media.
It's 2/15, so that would be August 4th.
Been up to, Bill?
Yeah, August 4th,
Apparently getting big ones.
So we get an extra Tuesday in there, don't we? Huh?
What's that?
We get an extra Tuesday in there. No, we don't, no, we don't, no, we don't. That's just the 28th. Yeah, right, we had that in June, didn't we?
And they had notice.
Yeah. So, okay, we'll do that then. We'll discuss that at the council meeting also. I got an invitation, I don't know if everybody else did, but I got an invitation to meet with North Adams Schools tomorrow night, 6:30, to discuss what they want to do out to school, like, do they want to put in the field house? Is there activities that the city then could use with them, partner with them, maybe share some cost and things? So that's the idea of the meeting tomorrow night.
Is it the school board meeting, or is it?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's not, I don't know if it's a school board meeting, but it's a meeting in North Adams conference room or
It's in the administrative building?
administrative building, yeah. So, anyway,
I didn't get an invitation, so I didn't know anything about it. The one thing that Ann pointed out to me, she made some contacts regarding the city's capital campaign, and apparently the school is doing one itself that has to do with athletic improvements, athletic field improvements or whatever.
So we're competing with the schools.
Yeah,
I don't like having two capital campaigns going on at the same time.
yeah, well, and I think it may have impacted.
So how is our capital campaign going?
I think we're just really getting another start at it. We need to hit it again. I think that's been the committee's thought now is, hey, this next week or two, we have to have something done by the end of July.
So like last year, people who were willing to give, subject to us getting stellar, aren't so willing this year?
Well, I don't think they've all been contacted. Like, I know Vic Porter and Thunderbird have not been
He
contacted.
was in a hospital.
Yeah,
He just
and
got-
so, yeah, and Larry Ish and I were the contacts for that. We're supposed to, when I called out there, they said that he couldn't, so I left a message for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, is he home?
He got out of the hospital, and as I talked to Wayne over the weekend, and he went up briefly to their lake cottage,
Yeah.
and then he came back home. And I know he had doctor's appointments
Having chest
yesterday.
pains, but they can't figure out, I guess, why.
Yeah, they did a...
All clear.
Right.
I ran into the gas station, and he was the one that approached me. Well, the next day I called, and that's when all this was happening, so I never met with him.
He's just under a lot of stress with his wife and
Yeah.
everything right now.
Yeah, they're both not...
So, but that's just an example, like, he hasn't been. They made a commitment last year of $100,000, you know, so, over a period of years, not all at once. So we need to hit people up like that. We haven't done it yet. Okay, guys, whenever you're ready. Okay, Phyllis wants to explain insurance to each of you, so she's got a timeline of 2 minutes here.
Your insurance booklet in front of you, we're now with that bill to cancel August 1st. So there's new cards in there somewhere, and then that top sheet there, bill that can be handed on. And that's the big one. That's underneath all these pamphlets.
Oh, this.
That tells everything that's, no, big sheet in the book, sorry. I'm sorry.
There's too many papers
Yeah,
there.
there is.
Yeah, really.
That tells all the changes. What was from 2014 to 2015. So sorry, Tyler, you got everything I explained to you last meeting is now different. So, if you guys have any questions, and then they have a summary in there of all your benefits.
I would suggest that anybody that is on the insurance and has a dental issue to use up what's left of PHP dental. And then we get a new $1,000 August 1st. So then, you know, use up in July as much as you can, and then the new plan takes effect August 1st. So if you got some dental issues, I'd say use up right now.
we have new cards?
Yeah, they're
They're in here somewhere?
perforated in there somewhere.
Okay.
That's a big sheet.
That's
It's in here.
yeah.
Maybe it's on the other side.
Might be right here.
Oh, Johnny put them
I
together.
think you're fibbing.
I don't know.
I think she's fibbing too.
Well,
The cards are here. So,
You just-
I didn't put them together, John did it. John
Yeah.
Kent.
John Kent did this.
yeah.
This one, you put them in there?
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
On this sheet right here. The sheet down at the bottom is a perforated card for you and one for your spouse or your dependent there.
Okay. Yep. Thanks.
We don't have that.
You don't have
And
this
then
one?
PHP will be sending you new cards.
that's the one.
too, before August 1st.
Okay, it's over here.
Yeah. Is that two, under the 2 minutes?
You took 2 minutes, too long.
Emergency room,
You doing emergency room visits? You got kids evidently.
4 times.
Oh my.
Really? That'll add up real quick.
Hey, there is a meeting tomorrow, and it's for anybody here on city council. I know I'm going to go. It's with North Adams Schools. It's out the administration building. They're going to discuss what they want to do as far as like a field house, and if there are activities that the city would be interested in sharing with them. Is there some cost factors that we can also share in? So 6:30 tomorrow, if you want to go. I'll go to represent the city, so I'll keep you informed if you can't make it. And then another thing that I was talking to Brent Lehman about was Workman's Field. I'm all familiar where Workman's Field is. It's owned by the school, and Brent basically just asked me, he says, are you, is the city interested in Withensfield? I think we mow it now, I think we kind of maintain a lot of stuff out there. So, myself, I think we are interested in Withensfield. There's some issues there, the towers, the big light towers, they don't use the real high towers anymore. Here about 10, 15 years ago, they put in more lights lower, and that's what's being used. So really, we could lower those towers substantially, probably about half the height that they are right now. So myself, I think they're going to talk about their meeting. They have a meeting Monday coming up, so they'll talk about what they interest is. We mow it. I mean, we really, that's the biggest maintenance of the whole thing, is mowing.
That includes safety park and
Safety park too, yeah.
so right now, do they maintain that? Or would we maintain?
I think we do. What happens there, some of those buildings are sponsored by, like, Indiana, Michigan sponsors a building. They contact Indiana, Michigan, say, hey, your roof's getting a little bad, and then they'll go ahead. It's really the sponsors that have been maintaining it, not anybody else. But I think it'd be wise for us to at least show interest with the school and sit down with them sometime here in the future. All he was wanting right now is, are we interested?
Is this in cooperation with Park and Rec?
Yes. Park and Rec would be the lead agency.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay, good. The old police department. I don't know if I reported this to you. North Adams Arts Council
Yep.
is interested in locating there. Tim kind of did some research here, and we was going to do it between the city of Decatur and the park board, so I'm not sure where we're at, Tim, if you want to explain.
Okay. Well, first of all, the way the county does their transfer records, they don't, for years apparently, haven't identified non-taxable properties in terms of dates of transfer. So to go back and try to figure out who owns the property, if I wanted to look up Bill's property, I could go back and see every property owner that's owned that property from the time it first got into the hands of a private owner. And you do it by going in the transfer records, and you go back to this transfer date. You get that date, you go over to the recorder's office, and you can pull up the deed by which that person took title. And then you can research and go further back and see when there was another transfer date and pull the deed, and you can do that all the way back to the government patent. But for some reason, the county doesn't do that necessarily for non-taxable properties. So somewhere along the line, the original plat of where the city pool, where the building, the street department building, where the police station was originally platted out in that property was owned by Adams County. Ethan apparently has found some old records that seems to indicate that sometime in the late 1800s, the county transferred that property to the town of Decatur, which is now the city of Decatur. But the question is, did it ever get transferred from the city of Decatur to the park department when the park department started using part of that property for park purposes, or whether that's still city property? And the reason you need to know that is if the building is going to be leased out, then you have to identify who the owner of the property is as the lessor. So it's either, we think, the city of Decatur or the park department, we're not sure which, and we can't get an answer, and North Adams Arts Council is patiently waiting. So what I've done is I've drafted the lease agreement to be approved by the Board of Works to authorize John to sign it, but under the terms of the statute, the lease has to be approved by fiscal bodies as well. So it'll be approved by the Common Council, and I prepared it for approval by the Park Board as well, so that regardless of which one is the proper owner, it's been approved by all the bodies, and then we can go forward with entering into the lease agreement. We meet tonight. Obviously, we can take care of our part. Park Board meets next Monday.
13th.
So I've set this up so that the lease term would be for 3 months commencing July 15th, and it would run through October 15th. Then it could be renewed automatically for 3-month periods following that, unless either party chooses to terminate the lease 30 days in advance. And I would suggest that periodically we take a look at that, because right now we're charging $1 a month rent, and we're paying the utilities. We're providing the maintenance on the grounds, doing, mowing and snow removal, that sort of thing. In time, if the Arts Council starts accumulating some money, then it probably is prudent to maybe change that around to be a more typical type of lease where they assume some of the responsibilities that initially we took on because they don't have the resources. So that's kind of where it is.
Isn't the lease just for the summer months or something?
Well, no,
That's what it was.
originally that's what you talked about.
For the summer months.
Yeah.
What was
Basically a trial.
right.
So we're doing it, it's a little later just because we haven't been able to get to the point of doing it. So,
But we're protecting our building.
yeah, you're going to have somebody in
Paying
there.
utilities and keeping the yard moved.
Right.
We're protecting our property.
And to be honest
Or
with you,
somebody's property.
North Adams Arts Council really doesn't have any money. I mean, and I think it's,
I don't know how they could.
yeah, they don't. Mary just has gotten involved. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but she's just getting involved. They're getting kind of reorganized. They're getting more people involved in it. And I think it's a good group. I mean, it's just kind of got stale, and they haven't moved forward.
Hopefully after a year or something, they can have enough money to pay the
Yeah,
utility.
yeah.
Well, and the reason that we did it for a short duration, the other reason is if the park department has use of that building at a later time, then you're not locked into a long-term situation.
Sure.
Are we, I guess one question for Mary, if you know, how much are you currently paying for
They're
that?
not paying very much for the current rent. They were barely making utilities. I think she said it was about 200, and that included utilities with rent.
Is that,
2 months.
okay, okay, rent and utilities. I'm just throwing this out there because I know we're going to talk about it later on, but the other old City Hall building. Because if they go into the Parks Department for 3 months and then, or for however long, and then the Parks Department decides that they need it, they're kind of out of space.
Mm-hmm.
Well, ultimately, I'm crossing my fingers here, we are trying to build a space for the Arts Council and the development down the street here, which would not be available for 2 years. So in theory, the Arts Council would need a place for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying we could do it for the same deal as $1, but if they were able to pay the $200, should we consider the other building for them to be a temporary home for 2 years potentially? Or do we want to go ahead and just...
Well, if you want, we can get into discussion about the old City Hall right now, and then...
And maybe there's been some movement, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We have to advertise that we're going to have a public hearing, and I think we're at that point. We held off because of Kevin Bigg's possible interest in that building. He's not interested, doesn't need that now, but we wanted to make sure it was available if he was interested. So now we're back to where we have to have a public hearing and decide if we're going to sell it or
Sell it at auction,
or
list it.
with a realtor, or how we're going to dispose of it. And that's probably on the table for probably the first meeting in August. Is probably the earliest we're going to do, because you have to advertise legally that we're trying to dispose of the building. I think there is some interest out there that people want to look at that building. I've had 3 or 4 people contact me wanting to know where we're at, and I think now it's...
People interested in putting something in it,
Right, buying it and putting some...
not somebody interested in buying it and selling it
No, well...
again.
Yeah, put something in it, basically. Yeah. Well, one of them is a not-profit that wants us to gift it to them, but, I don't know if that's what... We have to start the process sometime, so I'm recommending we start the process first meeting in August. So, doesn't matter where they go for 2 years. I guess we go down to the police station for 2 years and let the arts council there. And
Well,
if we want to incorporate them
If
into,
we're going to do it every 3 months and reassess, that's fine. I just, if we weren't in a need or hurry to sell that building, would that be a better use for it than the current police
police
station?
station.
We can always sell it,
I
but
know that the ladies would like to be downtown, to be seen, especially since we're building an arts community. That would be more ideal than at the police station, and there's good and qualities on both sides. Like, we'd be interested in the downtown area.
I don't think the North Adams Arts Council really has much choice. We don't have any funds.
How much space do you think they need, Mary? Do you know?
You can always use, the police station has a nice amount of space for smaller classes, but if we're going to grow, it would be nice to rent out studio space upstairs in the old city hall. There's room for larger classes with parking out back, so the kids would be in, could cross over easier than where they're at now. I see more potential with the old city hall for an art center than I do with the police station. There's nowhere to grow. But at the city hall, we can grow up and out, and the old, whatever this is, would make a great wine and canvas studio upstairs. I mean, that's perfect layout. I see potential for the city hall, but...
Well, I guess the reason I'm asking is if there's other not-for-profit entities that are interested, is it something that the space could be shared? Where
I think all of that's possible. Everything's possible there.
That's my only concern, is there's lots of groups that would like it.
Yeah. Adams County Historical Society would love to have it there, But
The sculpture tour,
yeah.
home.
well, that's kind of my point. I mean, what we're putting forward, and we're hanging our hat on making a permanent place for the Arts Council in the downtown area, which, that includes the sculpture tour. That's their flagship program. So if we're going towards that end, does it make sense to give them opportunities to do that now? Doesn't mean we can't sell the building eventually. We certainly could, but I don't want us to get in a situation where we provide them temporary space and then, they're out of a home
they have
for
to
a
go
year
find
and a half.
another place?
If we're really serious about elevating them and giving them a permanent place, then I don't know. But the other side of that is that if they're a serious buyer,
Okay, because City Hall's as good as it's going to get. Other than that, it's a building, old building downtown. So it's going to start deterioration process. And how much money do we want to keep putting in it? We're facing the same dilemma a lot of the other people are downtown. How much money do we put in these old buildings?
Well, if the North Adams Arts Council will go to the old police station, I think this all would play itself out in another 6 months, and we'll know. I think maybe we could approach it as North Adams Arts Council, this is a temporary place for you until we decide where you're going. In the meantime, then we find out what interest there is in the old city hall, and then we can make the commitments. Right now, we're just guessing, and to get rid of the old city hall, it sounds to me like it's not going to be something in another month or two. It's going to take us 4, 5, 6 months to dispose of it. I mean, by the time you have your public hearings, you negotiate prices and close on everything.
You're probably looking at
Three
least 3
months minimum. So, I'd say just,
Let's have the public hearing and move forward that.
yeah.
So we have
We have to have the public
our
hearing.
legal prerequisites done.
Yeah, I know. You're starting to sound like the mayor.
Well, we got these hoops.
at the public hearing, we're stating that we're trying to sell it, and we're letting them give their input, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just to get public input on whether you should move forward with the sale of it and the manner in which you're going to do it.
And if we wait 6 months, we don't have to start over again, do we?
Yeah, if you've gone through the bidding process, I don't think you do. if you want to go through the bidding process again, then yeah, you do have to start
I
over.
mean, we wouldn't have to have another public hearing, and
No.
so we're meeting our prerequisites.
Right.
Okay.
Well, at the same time, I think we're meeting what North Adams Arts Council has been told, that, hey, this is a temporary thing, we're going to try it out. So we're trying that out at the same time we're trying to get rid of them. And they may have to move back in. To me, they don't have a lot of stuff to move. It's not like it's going to take them months to move.
So when we have the public hearing and we discuss what we want to do with the city hall, does a firm decision have to be made that night, or?
No, the public hearing is just to get
Just a discussion.
Right, you have to hold the public hearing before you can take the next step of either listing it or putting it up for auction.
meeting and have a public hearing on that?
Yeah. Yeah. And that'll be done in probably August, the first meeting in August.
Since
I'd
we
love it
already attempted
If
the
someone
bid
that loves
process.
the arts wanted to buy the building and give it to the Arts Council, put their name on it.
I would rather they give their money towards the proposed future Arts Council building, music house.
We're trying to tie that all in with our Stellar. I mean, if we get Stellar, fine, we'll move forward quick, but if not, we're still going to move forward. Okay.
Okay.
I think let's allow the Arts Council for temporary basis go down to the police department until we get all this other stuff figured out. They may end up moving into City Hall, so we'll see how that goes, and we'll give them every opportunity. So Tim has a...
So what I've done is prepared the lease, and what I would ask is the board approve the terms and authorize the mayor and Phyllis to sign it, subject to council approval as well. And then this will be presented to the park board for their consideration, approval, and authorization for Larry Ish to sign on behalf of the park board. And then the Arts Council would have to approve it.
The Arts Council is ready to move, I mean, as soon as we give them permission, so.
And I did go online, because Susan was pretty sure of the name. It's a not-for-profit corporation. And online, it shows Susan as president and Bonnie Schultz as the secretary. So that's who I prepared for the signatures. Now, I don't know if Bonnie's still there.
Yeah, we can...
There's election list.
Oh, it was?
Yes.
Who is the
Who's the new president?
The secretary is Don Johnson.
Don, D-A-W.
DAWN?
President
President is Susan?
Rowe.
Susan Rowe.
Okay. Do you know Don's middle initial by chance, Marie?
D, I think.
Way to go, John.
All right, I'm just doing, okay. All right, thank you.
That's Craig's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to need action to authorize Phyllis and I to sign on behalf of the, are we signing on behalf of the Board of Works, or?
You're gonna sign it on behalf of the city to keep
City,
it, so.
okay. So we're going to get Board of Works approval, and we're going to get City Council approval
Right.
both.
Right.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's carried, thank you. Redevelopment Commission has been in existence for, Tim, would you say 4 or 5 years? We got late into the game here.
2011, I think, is when we,
Well, yeah, they still have not collected any dollars, tax dollars, and that's what's been set up. We do anticipate here in March of 2016 that some funds will be coming up. They have some expenses annually that come up and are down to $128.60.
Not very much.
Not very much. So
$100, yeah, something like that.
I'm hoping that maybe we can, at council meeting, commit some funds to help the redevelopment commission get through the next 6 months.
it's actually June.
June of, so about a year then.
I found out more information on that I'll need to kind of go over with you. Originally, when the redevelopment commission got started, council approved $1,000 to get started, which that was fine. But now that they're established already, if they use any of city money, they have to pay it back. It has to be considered a loan.
So, okay. Yeah. So we'll get it back. That's fine.
Better yet.
So, yeah. I read it, because I think we've given them money twice. I think we gave them $1,000 at first, and I think we gave them $5,000 the second time. I think.
We did.
Did we?
And then,
I'll have to double check on that one.
and that's just getting them through.
Do you
So.
remember when, John? We gave the second one?
Either last year or the year before.
I'm going to check on that.
With the redistricting, rezoning, are we anticipating to actually get anything this year, the redevelopment?
In 2016, we
2016.
will. We did not get anything like we expected here.
We're hoping that in June of 2016, we'll receive a distribution.
And Dennis Bloom continues to say that that decision we made is negatively affecting the county.
It has not impacted the
cannot
county
have
1 cent.
Impact because we don't have any money. We've never collected
It's
any money.
never-
So I don't know how they could say that we
There's
took money
not
away
that.
from
When we
them.
do collect money,
No, it's
Will it-
all new revenue.
It's new revenue. It doesn't take any away, it just means that if there's new development, then
Every
the
time
money that we
Remington brings it
capture
up.
is on that.
Well, you tell him it, come see us because we have not collected any
He does
any
not
money.
understand.
Yeah, we have not collected a dime. So we couldn't take any money away from the county.
Even if we did collect, it's still not,
it's new money.
it's new money, right? It's not taking away from the,
I thought I understood it, and I was trying to realize
Thinking
it.
it's
20
money-
years ago,
he's thinking it's money
we-
they would get.
Yeah. 20 years ago,
Because I'm getting-
communities
we're
got
getting-
in on the ground floor of this and
Main
really
road.
have done well
Mhm.
in developing their communities. Gas City being a
Gas City.
perfect example, Auburn, another example. They both have done well because of I-69 and they took the services out there to the interstate.
Lebanon.
Lebanon's another one. Yeah. So, Tim,
Mhm.
what was I getting at here with that?
You were talking about funding
Oh,
of...
finding them some money, huh? Yeah. $5,000, since they're gonna pay it back now anyhow, it doesn't really matter the amount of dollars, so. At council meeting, maybe we'll bring up, $5,000.
Yeah, comes from where?
Rainy day fund is where I thought we had some money there that we could do.
There's a report that has to be filed every year with, on behalf of the redevelopment commission. We're gonna make that a matter of record at the council meeting, same time, maybe we can do the 5,000. I think it's kind of reassuring that we will be paid back, that city council will be paid back on that, so. We'll bring that up at the meeting. Nate? You got a few minutes here for, Monroe Street Sewer Extension Project? This here, flood that we all went through and watched, brought up an issue on the west side of town, really close to my house, but behind, a resident's house, there's some raw sewage coming in. So it's coming in from the county into the city. It's probably, the worst that you can imagine. It's just bad. Terry Smith took some samples. He said it's worse than anything he's seen in Bobo or Pleasant Mills or Acadiaville, any of them. They said it's just raw sewage. So Nate's got an idea. I'm in favor of the idea. It's just hiring of the firm.
Yeah, well, it's the dilemma of it. This actually is the West Monroe Street Sewer Project. That's actually the permit of a design that was done by Commonwealth Engineering back in June of 2012. Now, make sure I give you guys enough copies.
So this is, you know where the cemetery is, on West Monroe Street. It's right across the street. I think there's
Going from
9
west
houses.
west to
Industrial Park, and that's in the county. It's not in the city.
Yeah, that's
So-
part of our annexation.
That will be, yeah. If this sewer goes through, that's going to be part of. So, go ahead, Nate.
It's between the industrial park and those residences.
Well, those residences, are one of those or more, are causing the issue. So between Westlawn Drive, the street I live on, and Industrial Road is in the county, where DNR Body Shop used to be.
Right.
That starts county, and all the houses west of there are in the county.
And honestly, this is one project and one situation that's kind of pushed something to the forefront, and that's these 5 essentially outlying health department sewer projects. It's been on those project lists since early 2000. There are outstanding right now 5 permits with IDEM for the construction of rural sewers. And this area is actually kind of in a donut around the city limits, but there are a number of areas where extensions west and south and east within and around city limits that aren't currently sewers. The city has partnered with Commonwealth to design some projects. but ultimately they were never fundable. The designs were permitted. I mean, the engineering makes sense. Unfortunately, that there just wasn't the finances to just build it as it was designed. So to move forward, I'm kind of in a dilemma. We have the permits, we have a design that's done, we need to make revisions to it. So I outlined a little kind of a position I'm in with this. I talked to
I told Nate to do something simple. Is that simple?
That's simple.
That's engineers.
That's right. So that covers essentially what position I'm in and kind of the recommendations that I'm into. I've got some cost estimates as far as why I recommend doing the projects themselves. There are five projects, about 44 residents. Of those permits, to revise the permits, essentially they're amendments to the active permits. Commonwealth needs to do those because it's their engineering design. It'd be $76,000 lump sum for the revisions of the drawings and $1,500 hourly not to exceed to deal with IDEM if there's any permit issues.
The cover page is the summary of what Nate's talking about.
We pay them to engineer it?
It is their engineering design.
We had paid them in the
Why do we
past.
have to use them?
It's their intellectual property. I cannot make amendments to their design. It's essentially,
This is where Nate and I differ.
Um,
He's saying it's amendments to their design. I'm saying it's not amendments to their design, it's a redesign of the whole frickin' thing. Because we're not going from a gravity, they designed a gravity sewer in the roadway, and we're gonna go to
a low pressure system,
low pressure system, a 2-inch line, pretty big,
directional board.
in directional board, outside the roadway. On our right of way, but outside the
We're at
road.
the right of way.
You know,
It's not
so
even
to me,
their design.
it's a different design, but Nate says we have to hire Commonwealth because they did the original design. We're not using their design, you know?
To amend the design.
You can tell I don't like Commonwealth. I think they cheated us years ago, and I'm very frank about it. I don't like it. I don't like giving them more money. That's just how I feel. So.
What's Mr. Baker say?
He's not an engineer.
Okay, good. We'll move on.
Do you have a comment, Tim?
Well, it really goes more to the permits. I don't know whether,
The permit states that
yeah,
in their design.
and that's the issue more so than the actual design itself. Because I would assume if we're going to totally redesign this, we have to submit a new permit
Get a
application.
new survey,
Right.
new calculations. It's an all original design.
Yeah.
So from something that we could get updated permits in maybe 60 days, we're talking a year more because it's something that has to be worked into my schedule. I got to get solicit bids for additional survey. You'll spend more money in survey for this than you will.
So you're asking to do these 5 projects. What's
Well, page 2 really kind of breaks down each project. We're just going to do project number 1, West Monroe Street, which has 9 connections.
Yep.
And Nate's saying that we can do this for,
I'm estimating that the low pressure redesign would be about $35,000. You're talking about
a directional bore this. They don't otherwise dig a trench and put it in there.
Not quite.
They dig a hole over here and a hole over there and
Force
a
main.
bore between the two.
Yep.
Something
Maybe
similar we
more
did out
than that.
east of town at St. Baker's house. They did the same thing.
This would be a sewage fund. This would be a sewage project. And of those 9 connections, what we kind of miss out on, these are on city water, so, but it is out of city, so it'd be an out-of-city rate. If they are not metered, it'd be about $83 a month. So for those 9 homes in a year, that's about $9,000 if it was unmetered.
Well, but I think
With metered,
maybe we want to
it's-
clean up some of the stuff. So forget about the out-of-city stuff because I think they're going to be annexed. If they want on our sewer,
Well-
they have to be annexed.
Okay, is this a voluntary annexation or involuntary or super voluntary?
Well, we don't run the sewer unless they sign off.
Well, what I'm saying is, I think the health department needs to have a meeting with these people and say, here's
Well,
your
they will.
choice.
And
they will. We met with the health department.
Because the annexation laws are now,
That's actually, would be one of the first ones.
yeah, we're talking about a whole different ballgame with the changes in the annexation law. So what I would recommend is you get all of these property owners lined up and say, we want to be annexed before we spend a lot of money in this, because otherwise you're going to do the project, and if it's not a super voluntary annexation, you're going to have a fight on your hands.
From a payback perspective, the payback's better if they're not.
Well, I understand.
But still, don't
Would
you...
the sewer be a negative to the annexation? Is that the concern?
What I'm saying is, if the intent of the city is to annex that property, then it's desirable from the city's perspective that it be a super voluntary annexation, meaning everybody in that territory is requesting to be annexed.
Would the waiver of right to remonstrate at the time of connection be adequate?
And I'd have to look at the changes in the law, but there were some changes that basically say you can no longer utilize that. And I don't know that that's carte blanche or if it's limited to certain exceptions.
Okay. That I would need to know.
Yeah, I haven't seen the changes. Yeah, I haven't gotten the supplements on that.
I don't think we want to be paying
Okay.
to do this for them if we're not going to annex them.
I think
Because if we don't do that, we're going to open ourselves to...
Well, and that's the other thing, that at one time, the county was supposed to be contributing towards this cost. It
Okay,
wasn't
let
supposed
me
to just
give
be
you
the
a
city.
quick history. Back in, I don't know, a couple of years ago, Nate, we met with this same group of people, told them what we were going to do. They were all in favor of it. It's fine. We had estimates, I shouldn't say we, Commonwealth had estimates of $85,450. We went out and got some pricing on it, got some bids on it, $192,000.
Right.
So it was almost 2.5 times what we
Right.
were talking about. That upsets me with Commonwealth.
Sure.
What the heck, you know? So,
So how do we know that 35,000 will get it done?
well, we're going by Nate's figures this time. That's Nate's figure.
It's a much simpler design for what we're doing here, so I'm comfortable with that number for what we're proposing.
Could I ask a question then, Tim?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you take these people in, do we grandfather the way some of these people are living? They have horses, they have
Well, that raises a...
3 or 4 junk vehicles sitting on their properties and...
Well, if they're annexed in, they're going to comply with our city ordinance, but...
Really?
Yeah, but
No horses?
you talk to Christy Sturts about that, and she's recommending that we take a look at our zoning ordinance to
Accommodate those people?
we had this issue come up with Brent Miller,
Brent Arnold.
or Brent Arnold, and even Adam Miller talked about, they would consider annexation as long as they could still have animals and ride horses, and Vic Porter was concerned about what kind of limitations on the use of his property if he was going to be annexed. Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
So if you're going to start annexing these areas surrounding the city, then you're going to have to look at what your zoning code allows.
Okay, so we have to review that.
Yeah, well, and I want to back up from the annexation issue a bit, because what we have right now, the situation we have is we've got about 8 homes that are dumping raw sewage into a county field pile. That county field pile enters the city storm sewers. Code violations for us, we can't have it, they can't have it. The resolution essentially is they need to be connected to a public utility system, or the fallback is for the health department, because they're getting about 250,000 E. coli at this sample location.
That's high, very, very high.
I think I'm trying to remember what they were telling me, the health department is about 1,000 counts.
1,200.
1,200 is not swimmable. So we're talking about factors here
Oh,
as far as scale.
It's
So
just
it is
that
essentially
black-
raw sewage is
black
getting into our system. We need to get that out. If the health...
Well, let's back up. The health department needs to get that.
Oh, well,
We
here's
don't
what the
have to
health
do
department
anything.
has. Here's the option the health department has, is they'll order pumping holes, and those homes will be effectively worthless. 8 homes within a quarter of a mile of the city limits. I'm asking to move forward on a project. The city would charge about cost would be about $35,000, possibly less. Maybe they annex, maybe they don't, but looking at the payback, the city will make its money back in about 4 years, even at 125% of that cost.
So this should have been done a long
This
time
should
ago.
have been, there's really no reason that
Are the
we wouldn't
homeowners paying any of
see
it?
that. We'll be able to double our money, almost double our money every 10 years for these connections. From a financial standpoint, it makes sense to do it. And if we don't act, the only option that the health department has is to order pumping holes. which I don't see as a good option when both of us benefit, the homeowners and the city benefit from making the connections. A philosophy that I'm encouraging from us for the utility, if we want to control our utility rates, is we need to expand. We've got residents and revenue out that we don't.
That's a whole different issue, Nate.
No, this is a part of it.
Yeah, but that's a whole different thing that you're talking about now.
Huh?
You're getting away from the project here.
Well, and that's fine, but this is one of those tests. So, and that's what I want to, that's what we're looking at here. If we move forward with Commonwealth, I can move forward with the project and hopefully make the connection.
My only problem, I like what Nate wants to do here. My only problem is using Commonwealth. Up front, tell you straight up, I don't like
They left a
Commonwealth.
bad taste.
They screwed us out of a lot of stuff, I
Like
think, and
I
I don't
said,
want
they,
it.
they bid it at 85,000. We find out it's actually 192,000. And then Nate's telling us there's a way. Why didn't they bid it this way?
That's exactly what I asked.
My question is, how do you go from 85,000 to 192, and now we're back down to 35,000?
Yeah.
Different.
Why-
No material change. You're talking about engineered fill, pavement replacement, about...
My question is,
manholes.
why didn't Commonwealth use the same system that Nate's proposing to use? That's, and we're gonna give them more money.
But the alternative is to spend more money.
Exactly.
Then-
Exactly.
then
That's right.
included in the 35,000?
Huh?
To redesign that
No,
fee?
no.
No, we gotta pay 7,500. If that would take care of all 5
That would be all
projects.
5 of those.
So 7,500.
Let's revise those and we'd have them...
Can all 5 projects be done
For that
with that way?
Yep.
And how much are the homeowners contributing?
Over to the second one to the right.
Main extension, but they would have, this limits what their connection options are. Number of these projects, and the reason they were high is they were doing a combination of pump stations and gravity sewers. What I'm proposing is these are rural areas. There's not a lot of options for future development, so if we do a residential pressure sewer system, it's a residential grinder station at maybe 12 to 15 gallons per minute flow. That works. So each homeowner, we put the main in, the homeowner has to put in a grinder station, and they do a little force main that connects to our force main, our low pressure sewer. That's their...
It's right here, and see where the 35,000 is? Go to the right, you see 9, there's gonna be 9 connections. The next number is what it's gonna cost each one of them.
How do we collect from
3,800.
them?
We would essentially, so when they make a tap, they would get a tapping fee, and then they would get a regular utility bill for their connection.
What if they don't have $10,000?
Well, they end up paying directly for a plumber for their grinder station. We don't have any ownership over that. That's part of the regulation. The only change that we're making to the North Pickwa project is I'm taking the grinder station out of their cost estimate.
Arnold.
We're not buying the
We're saying
grinder
somebody
station
in there is
on
not
private
gonna have the
property.
money.
Their connection is no different than
Arnold,
some
you
property
gotta
or
be-
septic tank.
My question was, okay, we got 9 connections. Connection number 7 says, well, hey, you proved to me that I'm the one that is giving the sewage into the city. You know. Now we're gonna spend some money.
Well, and ultimately, that's not our case to make. That's the health department's case to make.
So you're recommending all of these projects?
I say we just get all these projects done. They were an issue.
What is the
3 years
Arnold
ago.
LPS
There's
extension?
only
Brett Arnold
connections.
has
Gray
actually,
Goose?
is bought a horse Gray Goose. He wants to build a home in an area where he can't put septic. Well, there's 8 homes between his house and where he wants to connect, and public right-of-way in the way. He has granted easement to us. I've designed a low-pressure system myself. We got the survey ourselves, and so he is essentially going to develop that system and create an area connection fee himself, similar to what...
That has been submitted to IDEM for approval.
So that hasn't been sent yet. I'm
Oh,
going
it
to
has.
finish that up and send that out. That's the way many of these could have been done,
So-
but
So you
we had
just
5
don't
of
know
them
the
all.
cost, that's why it's not in there.
Yeah, well, there is no cost to us. He's
He's
building
gonna
it.
do
He's
it.
doing it as a private
And then
developer.
the 8 homes will connect into him and pay him
Yeah.
a share of
The
what
health
that costs.
department will, once the public sewer's in place, the health department will step in and say, you've got available sewer
Good.
and mitigate it. That's the way I'd love to do every one of these, because our cost essentially was to pay for a survey to a local surveyor. I designed it over, during my time over the last 6 months, and he's granted the easements. Essentially, our cost was very low to make that happen, so.
So tonight, we're just talking about West Monroe Street. That's the only
That's the
one,
one that's critical.
that's the one that the health department wants to be addressed. As long as they know that we're wanting to move forward, that's all they want. They don't care if it takes us 3 months, 6 months, a year, you know.
I don't want to use Commonwealth either, Mayor, but I don't want to spend more money to use somebody else.
But we're paying $35,000 to extend the main. Them tying in beyond that there is the homeowner's expense.
Correct.
But
Make back
we
that
extend this,
$35,000.
we have no guarantee that 9 connections are going to be made.
Well, the health department,
Yeah.
if the sewer is there,
The health department will make them hook up or pump and haul.
These
They don't want to pump and haul, 'cause that's
but does the
expensive.
pump and haul still apply if there's a sewer available?
If they refuse to connect, then the pump and haul will be put to that. So their alternative is to pay.
But then their property's worth nothing.
Try to sell it.
Until that's been.
Try to sell a property that's on pump and haul.
Okay, so we put $35,000 in to extend it and make connections for 9 residents or for 8 and 1 business available. And whether or not they connect is between them and the health department. And whether or not we annex them is a completely separate issue.
Right. And Nate went one step further on the next page here. It says 4.86 years for us to get payback on our $35,000.
And that uses.
If they're not in the city.
If they're not in the
If
city.
they're not in the city. If we bring them into the city, that changes all those numbers around, so.
Nate, the second one there, number 2, that County Road 500 West, that's out Richard's Restaurant Road, is that correct?
Yes.
There are only 3 homes out there that need
That
connected?
is
Well-
the apartment complex that's just immediately, there's 3 homes that are immediately west of that. Those 3 homes are
Idings used to live there,
500, that is that
and
project.
Steve Miller,
I think
and,
Brian Arnold's going to pick the rest of them up.
yeah.
Wait a minute, help me out here. So the County Road 500 West, 3 of them, and that's right in there by those apartments. Where's Iding Acres?
Iding Acres actually is the area west of the intersection with Deer Run subdivision. That's the area west from...
Across the
west
street
farm.
from Grey Goose?
No,
Directly
not
north
to
of the
the
Grey
east of
Goose.
Grey
North
Goose.
of the Grey,
Yeah.
north of the Grey
East.
Goose, east.
It's right by our industrial park.
Yeah.
Iding Acres is the rest of that farm in it, John.
500 north, too, it's not 500 west.
Yeah,
500 north. West, 500 north.
Okay.
But isn't that...
Scheidler, yeah.
Yeah, Scheidler's,
That was the Iding farm.
Okay,
and Gerber, what's his name, Gerber?
North Pickle Road, I know that. Countryside West is where?
Pull the drawings.
Where are you at?
Countryside West.
Oh, that's where Al Martin lives?
That's
500 west.
That's 500.
That's from 28th Street, go west, and there's like 9 homes in there.
That's where I was going, because I knew there were more than,
That's where
there are 9 homes in there.
That's where
Brent
Brent,
there now.
He lives there right now,
And
correct.
are these all areas we wish to
and
annex?
that got picked up at Brett's.
And then the last one, the Arnold LPS, and it has 8 connections,
Okay. That is,
where he's going to develop.
well, no, this is, Scheidler's live, you know where Scheidler's live?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right next to Scheidler's Vogelby. So now we're at the corner, at the intersection. Now that we go south.
Now it goes south.
If someone asked me,
And
if
there's-
it's by Al Martin, can I put up a barn? I said, well, you're in the county.
Yeah.
But if he's annexed,
Yeah. So I don't know how many houses are in there, do you know, Nate?
Yeah, I believe it's...
8.
Be 9.
8.
8,
plus the one.
yeah, 8, you got it down there, 8, so. So those are the areas. Now, tonight, we're just really talking about Monroe Street, and let's concentrate on Monroe Street only. Yeah, I agree that I'm a bullhead, and I don't like Commonwealth, and I don't like to give them any
For
more
good
money.
reason.
But probably, we don't have much choice.
in this.
I don't like these rules that say, they have the design, so we have to go by. Hell, we're using a whole different design, so.
But have they submitted the permits? Is that what you're saying?
Permit submitted, the survey was done as part
So-
of their scope of work.
So if we do a redesign, then we have to
So we go
totally...
ahead and say we're not gonna use them, we start over and it's the laser.
We'll pay another
and we're gonna have more money.
$27,000.
Right.
Okay, so,
This is their chance to redeem themselves a little bit.
it'll never
They
happen.
could have said no. They could have said no.
But they've already told you for 7,500.
Quote for 7,500.
So,
And that's
make a motion.
6,000 and 1,500 not to exceed. So it maybe,
I'm in favor of it. Let's get it done. It helps the health department. We grow, that whole area is kind of surrounded by cities, so let's get it in the city.
How does it answer somebody that lives by Al Martin, who has a chicken coop
Yeah.
and whatever, and wants to put up a little barn?
We have no control over that right now. That's not in the city, it's in the county.
But if he builds it, we're looking to annex it, are we gonna tell him he's gotta tear it down?
Probably.
Yeah, this
Or are
whole,
we gonna
We were
grant
just talking about a little,
like
So
Adam Anderson?
that's things that,
well, that's its own issue. So
yeah, I guess.
it's something to look at, your zoning classifications, your agricultural zones, which we have or had.
well, the issue tonight is really, again, West Monroe Street.
Right.
It addresses the health department, so let's either do it or don't do it. Let's go.
Not to beat a dead horse, but going back, didn't we make an offer to these
We
homes
did.
saying that we would
We
pay for
would
their connection?
pay
We originally offered to pay $7,500.
$7,500 per connection.
If they allow us to annex them?
Yeah.
Is that deal still valid?
Well,
Or-
it's not been in the calculation that Nate did, no.
No,
But
but
now-
usually spend less.
We'd have to ask Tim under the new rules, would that even?
That's my question.
What I'm saying is I need to look at the statute because they just changed a bunch of it again.
Well, I would say that let's move forward with these 9 homes on West Monroe Street, 9 connections. And in the meantime, Tim looks up the annexation rule. They're either going to be in our system, out-of-city rates, which are high, or in-city rates, which then makes it more affordable for them. So in the meantime, Tim can check that out.
I was just wondering if one of them should step forward and say, remember that deal you offered us
Yeah.
2 years ago?
July 1st.
Yeah.
I would remember.
But you're saying $3,888 takes care of that, right?
It's a lot less than we originally thought.
Well, they still,
What they're doing.
explain that $3,888, Nate.
Communities to annex areas.
Oh.
And you can't.
Does that include their connection from their house to our sewer?
All I did was take the LPS design and divided it by the number of
So we need
connections.
the super voluntary.
The original offer was $7,500 per next connection. Our actual cost of that $35,000 per connection was less than $4,000 each, or $3,500 less than what we were offering.
To show.
Pros and cons of
Exactly, so
It's a no-brainer.
That would be good.
Maybe that would help
Before they had to pay for the
educate
main
them to the
connection.
point where
It
they
was
understand it
$7,500
makes sense for them to
toward the
do it.
main connection, which we weren't even close. If you look at...
I have no idea what you're talking about, Nate.
If you look at the last page, the previous offer actually covered that. The cost to the homeowner, per homeowner, was assuming the difference in that revised estimate divided by 9 minus our $7,500, they would have had to pay toward the main plus their tax. They would have been out of pocket almost $18,000 per homeowner
Right.
for those 9.
Right.
Our offer would be, we're going to put the main in entirely at our expense. You just have the cost of making the connection, which with the low-pressure sewer, they've got the grinder pump, the low-force main, and tap. I'm estimating right now between $10,000 and $12,000. It varies based on the homes. But even then, they're still almost $7,000 to the good compared to what we were offering before, which was honestly unconstructible because there was nobody to hold the contract for $200,000 in construction.
Okay. It's still going to cost them,
They're still going to have an auto-product expense to make the connection, but it's still cheaper than an on-site septic system, which for many of them isn't even feasible because their lots aren't large enough. So the health department's not really going to even allow them to pursue that with this even as a possibility. This is a better cost, and if they get good estimates, their cost may be less than that. Or if they know a plumber or they work with a plumber that can make the connections, they might be able to keep their costs low. They could go together with their neighbors to make connections. There's a number of ways for them to get their costs low, but for us, it's simpler. We don't have to worry about that. They're making the connections, we just work with them and make the terms.
Okay.
So our job is much
This is
simpler.
really a Board of Works issue, so I'll make a motion to proceed, get something going, to pay the $7,500 to Commonwealth so we can move forward with this. In the meantime, have Tim check the annexation laws to see what we can and cannot do. That's my motion.
I'll second.
Motion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, motion's carried, thank you, Nate.
Got much more? We're running out of
Yeah,
time.
yeah, we're way behind, aren't we? Lowit budget. Greg, you and Les here, we sat down, Phyllis and I sat down with the two department heads concerning the Lowit. And I think I got some info for you guys. Do you got something to hand out, Phyllis?
No, you don't want me to.
We're going to do this. It's okay?
It changed a little bit.
It did?
Yeah.
Okay, the county established the Lowit. We get some money in 2015. And Phyllis and I sat down with Greg and Les about public safety. That's how some of this has to be spent. So, 2015, we're saying that the police department, the new building, that funding of that bond will come out of the Lowit tax. Police radios, $65,000, will come out of the Lowit. Police cars, $90,000, comes out of the Lowit. Police parking, once we got the police department new building in, we find we don't have enough parking. And Les, you and Greg have any other comments, please let me know. Okay, $5,000 for police lockers addition. Okay, that Phyllis just told me that's been increased from 5,000 to 10? To 10,000. That's another 5, so 223. Yeah, 223. Okay, so the police, now the fire department, there's some items they need. New concrete aprons in the south end of the building, $15,000. Fire communications, $3,500. $32,000 for some new air packs. Fire cylinder replacements, 8 of them, $8,000. $10,000 for overtime on the flood.
We took that out, because
Right.
we've already took that out. We've already paid it out.
So we took 10,000 out, so that number's off. Okay? And then phones for the fire department, 3,000. So the fire department really is down to 61,500 for 2015. Dry suits, water rescue, 9,000, so that went up again. So we're bottom line for them is $70,500 for the fire. Total for 2015, 298. I'm probably off now.
293.
293.
Yep.
293,800. Total revenue estimated was 424, so that would leave us whatever the difference is.
133.2.
133.2. And that can accumulate from year to year, okay? So now, go to the next page, that's for 2016. That's the same, it's the same approach. We have some police information there, 193,500, and then we have some fire department stuff in there for 167,000. You add that all up, leaves us 63,500 for 2016. I thought that's kind of what we were trying to do, is save some every year, not just spend it. You know, in case something comes up where we have to get a new aerial truck that's $800,000, that we'll have the money. Now, keep in mind, there's also another funding source for, especially the fire, is we have non-reverting funds that come in from the townships, and that money also goes in for fire equipment. So now these items, and Greg, maybe you help me here, come out of their police budget. Like police cars do not go, for 2016 we got 96,000 in for police cars. Well, that won't be in the budget now.
So their budget's going to be lower.
Their budget will come down that much. Did I say that right, Greg?
Right. So that goes back to the general?
That goes back to general, that's right.
What about the Jeremy's MBA?
I think that Jeremy's funds, that MVH funds that go from him to the police now stay in the street department. We don't give the police any more money from the MVH fund.
But now, this money is still in the budget, it's just under the Lowit
Low it, yeah.
Low it.
We'll have a new item for our budget now.
A new item. So it's not going to reduce our budget, it's just going to it's just going to move it from police and fire
It's also a
to the lawyer.
separate budget for
Separate
low.
budget.
Right.
Separate item. I hope this all makes sense. We
It
sat down,
does.
it took a couple hours for us to sit down and kind of go through these items, and, I don't know, so what's the next step?
Well, to spend it for 15, since it's not an appropriated budget yet, we have to ask for an additional appropriation. So I'm going to prepare a resolution, if you guys want to do it this way, for our next meeting, and then if you guys approve it, then I'll forward it on to DLGF, and they have to also approve it. And it has to be advertised. I mean, so I've got a legal ready to go in the paper tomorrow if you guys want to do it. If not, we'll just hold off until the next meeting.
Back into general fund, basically.
What's that?
Okay, so 124,000 goes to a non-reverting account
You're,
All this
for
money
public
that
safety, or
would've been
does
in
it
their
go
budget.
back in?
that,
That's surplus, John.
what you're doing.
Below it.
It's got standalone. It has to, does not,
So, but it'll be, can it be earmarked then, so we know what we're
yeah,
accumulating?
yeah, you can earmark it, or just leave it alone.
It can only be spent for public safety.
Public safety only.
Okay.
Back to the
Yeah.
general.
That's pretty broad,
I
really.
think that's pretty wise, look
Next year,
future.
I think
What
it's
is
wise.
that ladder truck, 25 years old?
reduce
How old is the ladder truck,
funding through the
Les?
general fund, which would
I think when I started working here,
It's all good. It's all real good.
19 years old already.
Well,
you
as
know.
far as I you see it.
A new one like that, just a guess ballpark, is probably
Stay out.
$1 million.
It'll help,
I think
it'll
there's a lot
help bring
that,
that
the question would
in
be, should
You
we
can then use it for
set a
other
goal
purposes.
of
100 a year.
you know, $500,000 that we're trying to build up, and so we want no less than what that would mean. So in 2016, I guess if we said $100,000 a year that we want remaining, $40,000 of their expenses would come back from the general fund.
If your goal is to maintain at least 100,000 a year that you're socking away for a major expenditure,
Right.
then if their needs are going to be, you know, whatever, if we're figuring 424, it means that you can spend 324 out of Lowell. You're looking at spending 360 in 2016, so you're going to have to spend about 40,000 from general funds to cover the expenses if all of that is actually purchased in 2016.
Now, when we put this money here back, it still can only be used for...
Or
Public safety purposes. That's
Which is
correct.
broad.
And they're not.
That's pretty broad, it is.
Right.
I mean, it could be equipment, supplies, anything to do with them.
How much does Les get from the townships?
about
About
40,000.
35, 40,000, right in there.
So that can be used towards the,
Right.
towards the ladder truck also.
And we have,
But if we get to the $500,000, essentially we'll be weaning them off of the general fund over the next 5 years.
Right. We try to set back 100,000 every year. This is a little bit short. We did save 133 in 2015 and only 63 in 2016, but yeah, the key together.
We're buying
It's
them.
close
I
to
agree.
200.
Well,
I
do we
mean,
think
I
their
think you gotta be
estimates are
careful
gonna be?
because
We're not gonna have a
and I
snafu,
swear
are we?
to the news.
Well,
Oh, you with the county's estimate of how much the revenue
I'm
is?
sure there's gonna be some.
Has it been pretty well on target
challenges,
for
over
2015?
time.
I won't get
but
that
there's
until
been
but
other
it will
communities.
change.
Here in another month, we'll find out.
Okay, I just don't wanna find out.
Yeah.
If we approve the resolution, all of a sudden, there's just snafu. There's
Yeah.
no distribution.
Good point, good point. So that, I just wanted to really kind of explain what we're doing. The 2016 Lowell budget will be included in our city budget, so you'll see that. Right now, like Phil says, 2015, since we
You have
didn't
to do the
appropriate any
additional
money, we're gonna
appropriation.
have to go back and
Right.
redo that. So, I think is that a Board of Works, or is that a council?
Well, I think at this point, because it's a budgetary matter, the council probably has to approve authorizing the advertising because it's the resolution that's adopted by the council. Right.
That's just for 2015.
That's just right, that's it, yeah.
for now.
Okay? All right, good. We'll bring it up at the council meeting. Oh, boy. Flood celebration. I think I sent you guys all an email. You know, we went through a flood. We had a lot of people step forward to help us out. And the idea was to maybe have a celebration where we thank these people for the time and effort that they put forward. We close down the street, we put on some music, we get out some girls and grill some hamburgers and hot dogs and brats or whatever. Tim did check into this for us. Legally, what can we do? And the item of buying T-shirts seemed to be a stickler point. Well, somebody stepped forward, a private individual stepped forward to purchase those shirts, so we don't have to worry about that. So now Phyllis came up with an issue. Is that?
I sent it to Tim
Tim.
about the state
Right.
accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There has to be an ordinance.
There needs to, and maybe there was something done a long time
I
ago.
think there was.
What kind of, Phyllis is saying we've got 100 and some thousand flood costs.
That's right.
Where does that come out of?
What's going to come out of
Their
our
budget,
out
the
of
current
the-
budget.
What's going to happen there, Matt, is the budgets, all those funds are coming out of the current budgets. They're going to run short here when we get to October, November. They're going to run short. We're at the additional appropriations, which will come out of the general fund.
Will we get reimbursed for any of that?
We don't know
We're going to
yet.
try.
Depends on whether or not we're found to be
John August is not
a
likely.
disaster
I
area.
don't think so myself either.
Not likely, according to John August.
We're going to try.
Yeah.
Seems crazy that a town with $7 to $8 million budget has something over $100,000. You'd think it's pretty
Yeah.
substantial.
So, what kind of cost do you?
You're looking at no more than $5,000 cost for us to put this celebration on.
Should we?
Close off Madison Street, have a party for
It was
a few
for
hours on a
Main
Friday
Street
night
Boys.
and have a DJ come in and
Party was.
it's just invite people. Now, there's going to be people show up that did not lift one hand to help sandbag or help any flood issues, but that's part of life, you know. So I
Someone from the community offered to buy the T-shirts. Should
Yep.
we say this is the cost, and if anybody would like to contribute to it?
no, I think this individual's ready to do it.
No.
What they
On that, I get,
Yeah.
but the.
Oh, if they want to contribute to the actual celebration,
Donations.
sure. Yeah.
Should,
I did have a number.
I realize it's not all inclusive, but didn't emergency management get stopped? I mean, didn't everybody sign in when they went to volunteer?
Yeah, they had it.
They did.
Supposedly they had like over 1,000. It's in the Main Street News that Max Melvin puts out. It just came out today.
Really, we can get by at $2,500. I was going to say 5,000, but it's about $2,500.
And
We've had quite a few things donated.
Yeah. Yes, right. Walmart, for example, gave us 1,200 bottles of water. You know.
I just also want to meet, when Hank Mayer says what we need more than anything is another sandbag machine, which is $10,000. Should we
Is that
buy
how
it?
much it is?
Yeah. He thinks we should buy it from Universal Metal Craft, because he
Well,
likes the way that's
Didn't somebody step up to help out?
Porter family is offering to give some, but he says what Decatur needs
Well, let
is one.
me back up.
Monroe
Yeah,
needs
yeah.
one, Geneva needs one.
We have some money, and I didn't know this until the foundation called us and said that we have some money available from 2003 flood. I didn't even know it was there. And I really don't. Melissa, you know how much we have there in the foundation from the 203 flood, 2003 flood? $5,000. Okay. So, it
The
says
stipulations on that money are...
you have to use it for flood. Yeah. My thought is, okay, let's buy this bagging machine with that money. That kind of takes care of that fund, and we all benefit from a sandbagging machine. So that's kind of my thought. So, but we don't know really how much is in there.
But if not, can we get that added to Jeremy's budget or whoever's budget to get the thing bought?
Safety.
Yeah. We do have a sandbagging machine. Now,
I don't know.
talked with Hank this afternoon, and he's had numerous calls in the past few days. He's within $4,000 of having enough money for two machines at this point. Well, good. So the donations are coming in pretty rapidly over the last week.
Right.
He just said we had plenty of volunteers. What we needed was another machine.
Well, and
His goal right now is 3 would be great,
yeah.
but right now, if they would get 2 additional, I think give us 4 total.
To be stored there for the county, right? I mean, would you...
However, we have one that it's the first time we've ever had to use it. It needs a little bit of work done to it this winter. Ours? Yeah, we found out the hard way. That's fine.
But, and it's very doable. He just,
I don't-
this afternoon, talked about a couple things, and he said he's within 4,000 of having it.
And Hank caught me during the midst of all this, and really recommended sitting down with you, with Tim Barkey, with John August, probably the mayor, and perhaps maybe the executives of the other communities, and do a kind of a post-flood analysis of where we struggled, what things could be done logistically better in the
We had
future.
an after-action meeting last night,
Okay,
but he still wants to meet with myself and Jen. and
right. I think
a
he,
few other key people
Yep.
when this happens to work out a few little kinks.
That's good. I think that's a good thing to do.
Right.
Be better prepared.
and
So my question is, are we in favor of spending $2,500 for this celebration? That's what I'm asking.
But Tim, don't we have to have that established? Yes, but I've had these audits for the last 18 clean audits. I don't want to be written up for
There is
something
a,
I'm doing wrong.
promotion of business ordinance that, and I guess State Board of Accounts says that that's to be in place in order to make use of these funds. My question is, has something like that been adopted previously, or as a resolution?
I'm not aware of it.
Yeah, what are the parameters of how funds can be used? That's the issue.
It'd have to be, if we did it. I don't remember us doing that. I really don't.
It hasn't been done since you've been mayor.
But did we do it after
But
2003?
has it been done previously?
I don't recall anything.
I don't either. I don't recall.
The Commonwealth would make donation.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
They probably would.
So, I guess, whatever.
What you're saying,
Try
the
to do
cleanest
something
way
better.
is to try to find somebody to donate $2,500.
We don't have time to do the ordinance thing, do we?
No, we don't. We don't have time to do the ordinance.
Not if
If you want to do this July 24th.
If you're trying to do it shortly, no way.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just do it without city funds. We'll get it done somehow. I hate going around asking people for donations when we're trying to hit them up for a capital campaign at the same time. It's kind of difficult to justify. Okay.
We'll check with John August, see if he has any money.
Well, he's been in on the meeting.
Maybe he can bring a little up.
We'll get it. Somehow we'll get it done.
Yep.
So we'll just do it without city.
Can't use foundation money for that?
No.
You-
Okay, one thing real quick. Our next meeting is on July the 21st, which is a Tuesday. Come to find out, that's on the same day as the 4-H parade down in Monroe. I'm not running for election, but some of you guys are. Does that cause a conflict for you guys? Do you guys want to go change the meeting to a different date, or well, it's up to you guys. I'm out of this one.
We've got two mayor candidates here, too.
I will be at the 4-H parade that night.
On that night, okay. So do we want to change the meeting night, is the question.
Problem with me on that is I have a commitment Monday night also, so if you change the meeting, I can't meet Monday. I could meet Wednesday, but not Monday. And I hate you to change the meeting just for me. I don't know if Tyler or Matt were going to be in this or not, but
Based on what, if we move the meeting or not?
yes.
Based on what now?
Whether or
If
not
we
we
move
move Tuesday.
Tuesday's meeting, yes, I would participate in the parade.
It's up to you guys, I don't care. That probably is something at the council meeting, Tim, so we'll discuss that here in a minute.
Well, are you moving the Board of Works and Council?
Yes, we
So the
will.
Board of Works would need to decide that, and then Council would need to.
Wednesday.
I'll make a motion to change the Board of Works to Wednesday. Fine with me.
Subject,
Which is the
subject to council
22nd.
doing the same.
Sure.
Yeah,
That's a problem.
for me.
Well, and then
Right, you know.
I need to know it for this additional
I'm
appropriation.
sorry,
Mm-hmm.
it's the Cincinnati Reds game, they asked me to come and attend, so,
They asked me.
yeah, they asked me to.
Yeah. That was nice of them. I'd go to the...
So I won't be here on the 22nd.
Well, can you be here Tuesday? I can be here Tuesday. Can you be here Tuesday?
I have a hard time skipping a council meeting to go be in a parade.
Well,
But if we don't have a council
if
meeting...
we're going to have enough to do business,
We only need 3.
okay.
Put that on the... Sorry.
It's true, we could,
Do you normally go to the 4-H parade?
we could
Yeah,
do 2.
I can do it here, I can do it. We can move it to Monday and have 2 people on the Board of Works meeting,
Yeah.
and just not have Ken.
Okay, Monday's fine with
Monday's
me.
fine.
I prefer
Okay, let's go Monday.
Monday.
And I can see if I can change my Monday meeting, but I don't think I can.
2/7/20. Okay.
Adjourn.
You're changing the Board of Works,
Meeting to Monday, July 20th.
July 20th, okay. So, this additional appropriation, then I probably can't get done for that meeting, because I have to advertise it 10 days prior to the meeting. So if we want to do it, we'll just do it in August. Is that okay?
That's fine.
All right.
Remind me of that so I can put it on the agenda. Okay.
Board of Works meeting also needed
Yeah.
Board of Works.
Board of Works and the City Council. We haven't... well, Yeah, right, yeah. Make a motion to adjourn.
City Council.
Motion to adjourn again.
We're gonna move
Oh, you did already? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Bill?
Again.
Second.
Thank you, guys, sorry. Okay, we'll close that meeting, we'll open up the City Council meeting. Call the meeting to order, we'll have roll call, please.
You run your game again.
Phyllis? Sorry.
Kim Collier.
Here.
Phil Crowe.
Here.
Matt Dyer.
Here.
Tyler Fulenkamp.
Here.
Ken Meyer.
Here.
I'd like to invite everyone to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the minutes of the June 16th meeting were emailed. Do we have any corrections or additions to those minutes?
Make a motion to accept them as emailed?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Tim, I should have just got with you before. Did you look at ordinance for the code book? You got it? Okay. Excuse me, I'm just going to steal your code book. This is the new code book. Big fat thing here. It's got all the rules in it, so we just had it redone. I'm sure as we move forward, it's going to be an ongoing process to keep it updated. What we do is we send down any changes we have to the publishing firm, and then they make the changes and do all of that, so.
Can we come across many?
We come across some. There's a few things in there that's going to be changed, but it's a heck of a lot better off than we were 3 months ago, put it that way. So Tim prepared an ordinance for this,
Basically-
to basically accept everything that's in this code book.
Right. Really, what you're doing is you're kind of, it's a combination of things. You're revising, amending, restating, codifying, and compiling ordinances, both the existing ordinances, and then there were changes that made that are being incorporated into this as we went through with department head meetings. So this ordinance basically adopts this document in its current form. What it does is it identifies the code as the, and this is going to be called the Decatur Code of Ordinances of 2015. The last time that there was a codification of the ordinances, it was done in 2007. And so it's time to do it. We've had a lot of changes. So this is kind of updating it. It's going to make it something that's more accessible. It's going to be easier to amend as time goes forward because of the way they're doing it now compared to the way it was done previously. And so the adoption basically will go into effect once this is finally adopted. So typically you do ordinances where you adopt it on first and second reading, you table it to third and final reading. If you wanted to do all three in one meeting, you can suspend the rules and do third and final reading in the same meeting. That's entirely up to council. Once the council has adopted it on all three readings and the mayor has approved it, then it goes into effect immediately. Okay? So, and then the ordinance itself just attaches the table of contents that identifies the various matters that are addressed in the body of the ordinance, the code of ordinances itself.
Any questions?
Yeah, do we want to do 2 or 3?
3?
Get it out of the way?
Ready to design, we're done. That's fine. We can talk on all three.
You ready for motion?
Okay, need to, motion to introduce ordinance number 2015-9.
Make a motion to introduce ordinance number 2015-9 in its first reading by short title.
Second. Motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's carried.
Ordinance number 2015-9, short title, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, which enacts a code of ordinances for the City of Decatur, Indiana, revising, amending, restating, codifying, and compiling certain existing or new general ordinances of the City of Decatur, Indiana, dealing with subjects embraced in such code of ordinances, and which declares an emergency regarding its effective date.
Make a motion for passage of ordinance 2015-9 on its first reading.
Second.
Motion second, we'll have roll call vote, please.
Cam Collier.
Yes.
Bill Crown.
Yes.
Matt Dyer.
Yes.
Tyler Fulenkamp.
Yes.
Ken Meyer.
Yes. Make a motion that ordinance 2015-9 be placed in its second reading by short title.
Second. Motion second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.
Ordinance number 2015-9, short title, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Decatur, Indiana, which enacts a code of ordinances for the City of Decatur, Indiana, revising, amending, restating, codifying, and compiling certain existing or new general ordinances of the City of Decatur, Indiana, dealing with subjects embraced in such code of ordinances, and which declares an emergency regarding its effective date.
I move for